Welcome to the Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
You might not realize this, but you actually spend the majority of your life in an altered state. Yeah, because you are in truth a little chunk of the divine having a human experience. And that whole human thing, that's not who you really are. That's the altered state, pretending to be who you are not. Getting in touch with the real you, the divine you within, can be tricky for some people. And that's why I am so excited and delighted and thrilled to pieces that we get to chat with Jonathan Mozenter today. Jonathan is freaking amazing. I love this guy. I love his energy. You're gonna fall in love with him too. I know. Jonathan is this multifaceted professional. He's so renowned for his expertise in fostering human flourishing. He's a very dynamic speaker. He's an entrepreneur, a consultant, and a soul mentor. He draws from a rich tapestry of studies under several different masters across various diverse disciplines. You wouldn't believe what this guy has come together with. He has created a completely unique approach that allows you to connect with the divine within. Now, here's what it's all based on, okay? I hope you're taking notes here. Epigenetics, meditative state development via Tibetan Buddhism, integral theory, chi cultivation, organizational development, conscious language, somatic therapy, altered state preparation and integration, embodiment, shadow integration. I'm at 10 now, I'm going more. Activating intuitive gnosis, energy healing, deity yoga, dream yoga, and triptology systems, which include Enneagram, human design, and gene keys. Honestly, what this guy has not learned is a lot shorter than what he has learned. And what I love about what Jonathan does, he synthesizes all of this psycho-spiritual technique into a very accessible process that creates individual and collective transformation. Because you can't help transforming everybody around you when you transform. And it's much more powerful for you when you're in community with other people, and then everybody transforms at once. And it's just so uplifting and it blows your mind. Jonathan's clients tap into his intuitive guidance. We're going to get to experience some of that today because he's very much in flow with his inner divine. I'll take what he's having. Thank you very much. And he saves people a ton of time because he helps them focus on the most impactful areas of growth for them so that they can very effectively navigate altered states like that human thing. Who needs that? He helps you master the mind's traps and accelerate your learning. Jonathan, I am so grateful that you could take time to be with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Woo! I'm excited. I feel the energy's in the air. It's going to be epic.
It is. And it's so fun because Jonathan, every time we get together, we just start laughing and having fun and we interrupt each other because we're just so in the zone. We're so connected on that spiritual level. And now that you're participating in this conversation as an audience member, you're connected to our energy. So that means you are automatically lifted into that higher space of being. Just enjoy the ride. You don't know what's coming. We don't really know what's coming, but it's going to be freaking awesome. Okay?
Yeah.
Jonathan, you've watched my show before. You've listened to my show. So you know that having an intention, setting the intention at the very beginning is super, super important. And there's a few different reasons for that. We are actually in partnership with the divine. And by stating our intention, it's almost like a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go. So I've got a specific structure I use. I always start with in love and light, because to me, that's acknowledging that the God of your understanding, the divine within, is an active participant in helping you create your intention. So it's, hey, so glad you could join us today. Simple. Then we state the intention, and that's where we want to go and how we want to feel as we're having this collaborative conversation that we're about to have, what we're creating together. That's the typing it into spiritual GPS part. This is the direction. Here's where we want to get to. And then I always say thank you. And at the very end, I say it is done, because our job is done. We don't have to keep typing. We don't have to keep asking. We've completed that request. And now we get to play with each other and play with the divine. Now, I always hold the intention for 78 seconds of silence. I used to say, oh, it's so hard and it feels like forever. And I don't do that anymore, because whatever you say is true for you. Now I say, oh, it's so easy and fun and playful and joyous. And a couple of tricks that really help make it fun and easy and playful and joyous. As you hear the intention, pick out 2 or 3 words that really feel expansive and uplifting and joyous and enriching. And just say those same 2 or 3 words over and over again in your mind. Just feel that energy flowing through your body. And that's the second tip. Listen to your body. Your body is this massive antenna getting all this wonderful, delightful, joyous, divine guidance all the time. And we feel that as like ripples or tingles or a little bit of heat or cool. So just notice that we're already getting the energy to move. That's what we're asking the divine to help us with. We want the energy to move in the direction of our intention. And that it's already starting to shift is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, Jonathan, I know you're off the chart. So I'm like, I can't wait to experience what it's like holding an intention with you. Because this is going to be really intense. All right.
All right.
Are we ready to play?
Yep.
Let's
do it.
play. All right.
All right. Game on.
Yes. In love and light, we hold the intention that we welcome opportunities to expand and grow as our higher selves, partnering with the divine for guidance, well-being, and prosperity. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. I was right. You're pretty amazing there, dude.
Oh,
I don't know what it was like for you, but I felt this massive wave of love flow through me. And I suddenly felt this connection to every single molecule in existence, in thought, intention. And I just sent out love and blessings and abundance and prosperity to every single molecule. And welcome back whatever energy chooses to show up for me. It really was a transcendent moment. And I attribute it to your energy. So thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I talk a second about what it was like for me?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I felt like our fields first merged with each other. And then I felt like it connected with the audience. And I got all this joy, and it's like, this is an advanced audience, Jonathan. Give them the deeper truth. We're talking about ascension today and what it's really like to be human and divine at the same time, and play with those energies. And I'm ready to bring my A+ as I always do game here, and I'm excited.
Jonathan, I got to tell you, in reading all of the different things that you've studied, I really felt this huge sense of release that I don't have to do all that training. But golly, you have studied so much and then put it together in this unique combination that provides streamlined experience for your clients. And why are you so passionate about this work? Why is it so important that people have this experience?
That's a fantastic question. Yeah, connecting to my deepest part of my nervous system, it's about getting like self-acceptance of soul purpose, and that each of us has a soul purpose. And my soul purpose is soul activation, that my spirit was descended here with the extent purpose of attracting exactly the right souls. We meet at exactly the right time, and I give them exactly the custom experiences that they need to activate so that they can give their unique gifts. In fact, twice this week, it's already happened. I've had what's called a city activations session, which is where each of us has, I'm getting, actually every soul has it. Not everyone's ready to have their cities activated, but as you get to a certain developmental level, you bring your own power. Something unique is being channeled through each and one of us, as everyone is an angel here. So everyone's special, but we're all at different places developmentally. And I needed to have this vast array of tools to meet my clients where they're at, so that they can feel safe, that they are getting something that's unique to them. And it required a lot of training. And it's an honor to serve in this way. And fortunately, my archetype loves to learn and to synthesize. And we're moving into what I call the integral era, the second tier consciousness, where we let go of there just being one understanding of how life is, but we also honor our own unique trajectory and our own stories. But then now we're in this place where we start to listen to other people, and that everyone's unique story has a little thing, and we each have something to teach everyone. So I know a lot of stuff, but I learn a lot from my clients and from everyone in daily life. And when you have a disposition where you love yourself, and you know you have something of value and everyone else has something of value, life is different than if you're like holding feelings of anger or being a victim, as things I help my clients transcend.
So true. And you actually remind me of a story. I was in my husband's truck backing out of a parking lot, and it's a big truck. And I am not always that great with spatial awareness. So I'm really cautious backing out of this parking space. And I can see out of the corner of my eye, somebody is just using the parking lot like a race course. They are going so fast. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's not very safe. So here I am, happy, happy, joy, joy, just carefully backing out of my parking space. And all of a sudden, I hear somebody honk. Now, I don't know if they were right behind me. I assumed that they were right behind me, but I did not look. I just went from happy joy to bad in a nanosecond. Wow. My human was activated in a big way. And I started all these stories about their questionable ancestry, and they weren't just dropped on their head as a child, they were dribbled. I was just really in the zone. And then I got this little reminder. I use this bell with a happy face on it as a reminder. It's the divine coming through with a message. And they said, honey, honestly, we've told you every single moment is a blessing. Every single moment is a blessing for you. And whatever story you're making up there sure doesn't sound like a blessing. So you need to rewrite that story right now. What would it be like if that honk was actually a blessing for you? I had to think about it for a minute, but I was like, maybe I was about to run into something and they didn't have time to put their car in park, jump out, run around, knock on my window and say, hey, lady, hold up, you're going to damage your car. And so maybe they saved me a lot of time and money and frustration and all this stuff because they were kind enough to honk and stop an accident from happening. Or maybe it was more like you've got room, you're good to go, you got this kind of thing. And as it happened, I had to crank on the wheel really hard to get out of the place, but I got out. And all of a sudden, the real divine message came through. I'm the only one who can let the blessing in. I'm the only one. I'm the bad guy who's stopping me from receiving the blessings that are already there. They already exist. What is wanted is right next to what is not wanted. And so often we're so fixated on what is not wanted that we can't see what is wanted sitting right next to it. So when you were talking about all these different methodologies and how people struggle with the dichotomy between their human self and their higher self, I get it. There's nothing wrong with being human. We are here to be human. That's an important part of the process. It's how we learn and grow. And so don't beat yourself up for being human. Recognize every time you notice that you're really coming from your human self, this is an opportunity to shift that and come from your higher self instead.
Yeah, I think that's an epic story about starting to break into important distinctions. And I think one of the things I want to hit on first is one of the most important things that I teach, Elaine, is about perspective taking and ability to see everything as a gift. Because when we notice when things drop our energy, then we're just a lower version of ourselves, and we're not in receiving that everything is a gift. And actually, I'm getting a strong yes to. So a lot of people say, some people say we're in a meaning crisis. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. I have my own take on that, which I want to share, which is I took this position of my first question was like, how can anything exist? And at some point I realized I can't answer that question. Anytime I came up with an answer, I'd be like, what created that? And it was a bottomless pit. So I came to this one answer: everything is magic. So when you accept that you're magic, and more magic is possible. So there's a pro transformation tip. That's a good place to bring that into the center of your being. And part of the process is letting go of some of those old stories maybe you had as a child that are still sticking to you for a good reason. And I help with my clients to let those go and bring in the new story of the beauty and seeing their gifts. But this second question is about meaning. So if I take this position, well, I'm nothing or non-existence. For somehow I can ask a question. I don't know how that's possible, but let's just say it is. What question could I even ask? And I guess the first question I always come up with, I must ask, what is it like to exist? Like, I don't know how you'd ask another question. Before you that one, you got to have a taste of experience. So I think the first question is, what is it like to exist? So if everyone's having a taste of being alive, then guess what? They're doing it right. So you can let go of any story that you're doing life wrong. Anyone who thinks they're doing it wrong or they failed, oops. That's just part of as you call being a human, but you're actually always fulfilling the primordial purpose. Then the second question would probably be like, okay, not all experiences of a life are the same. Maybe I have some preferences. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having preferences. It's part of knowing what it means to be alive. And so then we're in this like optimizer part of us who wants to optimize our experience. And so I think it's important to understand you need contrast to have any meaning at all. So if you don't have some experiences that we label as bad or wrong or suboptimal is a word I prefer, then you can't have the higher end of it too. And that way, all the other experiences that we prefer not to have, they're necessary. We need them for contrast. Otherwise, we're not going to appreciate everything. If it's just what we call bliss, it wouldn't be bliss. It would just be a feeling that we're always at. And we'd probably get bored of it pretty quickly. Interesting story. I was agnostic most of my life. And now I find myself as not only teaching about spirit, but like an advocate of the spirit got it perfect. That everything is already perfect the way it is. And we're just getting into alignment with that. So that part of being human and moving into our God is like merging. Or what if we could understand that we're the ultimate reality that separated into all these people so that we could have this epic experience that we get more and more. We're always in tune with it, but it feels better as it goes along because that's an optimal way of experiencing life. And sometimes there's like ups and downs, and that's just the part of the contrast game. And we're one with the process of life. We're one with it. Yeah. So when you go,
I absolutely love this because it jibes perfectly with one of the messages that I received from the divine. You know that I had a stroke on New Year's Day 2005.
Yes.
And during my stroke, I had a conversation with our higher power, and I continue to get messages on an ongoing basis. One of the messages that I got, the way it was explained to me, everything is already love. The God of your understanding is nothing but pure love, and love exists in absolutely everything. So how do you expand God? How do you expand the divine if everything is already love? You create human beings who don't think everything is love. We get to experience the joy of contrast, the difference between what is wanted and what is not wanted. And that shift, that difference, that dichotomy gives us the opportunity to either shrink back in fear or lean in with love. And every single time we choose to lean in with love, we expand the divine. This is the cutting edge of the divine. You've been here many times in the past as a physical being. You will be here many times in the future because this is the rock star place to be. You're like a surfer. You love catching the wave. And sometimes they're really big and gnarly and awesome and fun. And sometimes you wipe out spectacularly. And sometimes they're just dribbles and they don't really do much. Doesn't matter. You're loving the wave. You're loving the experience. Yeah. So I love every single thing you said. And I have to get back on track, though, because I could go off on tangents like this for freaking ever. I love chatting with you, Jonathan.
I love your tangents.
Now, one of the things that I always ask people, because no two people say it the same thing, this is the abundance journey, right?
Yes.
You're creating a different kind of abundance for your clients. Given the work that you do, helping people truly connect with the divine within and live as their higher selves, how would you define abundance?
That's a fantastic question. So I'm getting I'm very process oriented. So I would like to describe a little bit of the unique process that I help my clients through and that your listeners can get the benefits right now. And it's about, you remember, the goal is to know itself. Like the more we know what life is. So I want to talk about something you've been talking a lot. I want to really piggyback on this human experience and why does the design itself is so clever of ultimate reality. And it's about trauma and the first trauma of birth. Each one of us, there are these different primordial traumas that people can respond to, just like being alive. It's, oh my God, I'm alive. If something is just automatically alive, then God didn't have any parents. It just was there. So it's almost like abandonment right from the beginning, and maybe it doesn't get a playbook. And so it's got to learn through it goes and make mistakes, and how our different God selves experience stress and deal with it. The defense pattern to deal with, oh, maybe I can't figure this out. Maybe I'm a failure or I'm worthless, shame, guilt, blame. There's some nasty core traumas that everybody's got. And so each one has one that they maybe glock on to a little bit more depending on your unique archetype. And then there's a response to it. And this is one of the most important things I want to talk about here is I help people actually get so intimate with their unique defense patterns. And their defense patterns job is to not feel the nasty feelings that they weren't able to feel as a kid. And so I help people feel deeply again. I help them identify. I use archetype that in my profile, like the 5 personality patterns and the Enneagram, gene keys, human design, and we can really narrow it in fast. And I help new tools to bring together in a unique way to feel those feelings. And then, so one part is feeling the suppressed emotions, but then there's a habit that each person creates. And I'm to give an example, like what would be a habit? I'll just talk about my own defense pattern. And every defense pattern has strengths and weaknesses. So one of my primordial defense patterns is called a leaving practice, which means I tend to get out of my physical body and I get into my mind. So the good thing about that is I develop my mind. And so I learn to think and be really in touch with energy and creativity. But disembodiment's been a challenge. My whole life is just spending too much time in here. I'm accused of being ADD, kind of spaced out. So I help people really dial in what are their unique patterns for low energy and what are the unique patterns for high energy. And actually connecting to your higher self or your soul or divine is by sustainably keep accessing that energies. So what does your soul feel like? What does your defense patterns feel like? And when you can start to sort that out on a more precise level, then you feel more in line with your own intuition and things just get more effortless and easy. So that's a little bit of the protocols and processes that I take my clients through.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm writing as fast as I can. I'm taking notes because, Jonathan, what you're sharing with us is so powerful and so transformative. And truly, it just reinforces that idea that we are here to help expand the divine. There's nothing wrong with the experience that you're having. You're just having an experience. And so how can you delve into it to learn more about how this experience actually enriches your life? Now, obviously, you've worked with lots and lots of different people over the years, Jonathan, and you probably have noticed certain patterns that people run into, right? There's what's happening before they start working with you and what happens after they start working with you. What have you noticed are the areas where people are stuck, or what are the symptoms that they have before they start working with you?
Yes. it's a three things I'm getting that come together in a cocktail to make them a perfect match for me. One is they have this desire. They know that they're here to do something about the current quote unquote meta crisis. Their soul is, I know I'm meant to help this, and they're ready to change something about themselves. There's some part of their life that's stuck, and usually it's either in one of these three domains or maybe all three of them. That's something going on with their career. Like they're in a job that's okay, but they're meant to do something that's not okay, that fills their heart with joy and makes the world a better place at the same time. That's probably the number one reason. But sometimes people also, let's combine with love life problems. And then the last one is about not feeling like they're in the community that they're supposed to be. Maybe there's a lot of the people are not aligned with them and they feel like they're holding them back and they're having trouble like leaving that and to go into the people. So those are the three. That's the process of what they come in is then I take them through my protocols and then they match up with their community. They get their careers and love lives aligned with what the direction they're going to, and that there's steps to it. It's not like this is part of the transformation magic. We got to get familiar. What are the formulas or processes that are getting you into the current state? So then we can stop doing those. And then I share them best practices for transformation in all those domains. So I actually call it getting out of your defensive patterns, which I talked about before, and adopting proactive patterns that will align them with their heart's desires. And so the goal is to spread this system of way of being as widely as possible so we can get the whole planet, so we can create heaven on earth. And my understanding is that each soul has a small piece of the puzzle. And this is my piece, is to help show people how they can activate their soul and spread it to as many people as I can. And so we can, I believe, I just want to say this very abundance is, I got Ganesha back here. Ganesha is, I don't know if you know about Ganesha, but he's the obstacle remover. He is known for wealth and prosperity and abundance. So that abundance is the fact that I'm on your podcast is epic because abundance is my middle name. And I believe that we're here to leave this scarcity mindset and get into, we can all win at the same time. And that's the name of the game. That's my whole life purpose, is to have that for everybody.
That is so beautiful, Jonathan. I love what you're saying. And I know that you personally experienced a transformation. You said you used to be very agnostic, and now you live, breathe, eat, sleep, dream, nothing but spirituality. That's who you are from your core. Obviously, when we want that external world to change, something has to change on the inside. You couldn't go from where you were to where you are now without an internal shift. What have you noticed your clients have to be willing to change inside before they get that transformation and they could truly have that connection with their divine selves?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one from someone who considers himself, or I used to really, my whole self-esteem used to be around being a good thinker, which is a part of, but it turned out I had to let go of that story and accept that I'm actually an exceptional feeler. So for me, it was actually learn to feel deeper. I had a story, I was disconnected with my feelings, and that story was not totally true. I muted them though, and I learned this didn't happen overnight. I got to, let's just say I was 39, turning 40 and going through that kind of reflective midlife. Is this what I'm here for? And I was one of those people I thought I was living, when I did my report card, I was like, I don't know, B minus. I feel like this is a good life, but I'm here for an A+ life. And so I made like an internal shift. I call it my enough of this moment. So that was the first thing. It was just like I basically was a Texas Hold'em player, and I was like, all right, dear universe, I'm putting all my chips into this A+ life. I don't know what it looks like, but that was the thing. And then I got guided to the meditation, the Vajrayana Buddhism, which is to help change my sense of self. So I used to think I was these stories that I'd made up as a kid or in a past life or both. And I started just learning how to become pure presence and now, and how to connect to a different energy. So if you have like a story that you're always fixed to, that's kind of like a bound perception. It's like a very fixed. And I learned it to connect to what my epi-energetic teacher, Donnie Epstein, calls unbound energy. And it's just free energy that allows more creativity, more novelty, more reflection, more higher self thinking. And that's really what I teach my clients to do, is how to let go of their bound stories that are limiting, that are keeping them in a scarcity place, and bring in this free energy that's everywhere. My chi teacher, Fu Jones from Chi Energy Heals, he just says she's everywhere. And he would take this beginner practice where you just take energy and you start packing it in there, and you learn these different rituals that increase your energy, and all of a sudden your life just gets a lot better. And
Yeah.
so I just want to clean out. I'm 53 now. I just turned 53 last month. And so this was a journey of like 13, 14 years we're talking about. And I didn't become a spiritual teacher overnight. It was a lot of practice. But I want to just last point here is that because I've learned all that stuff, you don't need to have a 14-year journey to get the gains. Because I've synthesized it and tightened it, people work with me like one session, their life changes quickly and not all the way. And then things build. And so that's the opportunity it is to work with me, is that I've simplified all the things. You don't have to study with 20 teachers. I shaved off the best of each of them and put them into a new system where they can get it. Because we need that, I think, because there's a lot of turbulence with all these different first tier worldviews on here. And I think in order to really get us to a new place of coherence as a species, we need rapid transformation.
Yes, we sure do. Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you're saying here, because you're actually bringing me right into my next question.
Great.
There is no such thing as overnight, hey, presto, before,
Yes.
after, boom, in an instant. That, as human beings, that's not how we experience time. And
Yep.
that's not usually how we notice shifts in ourselves in particular. What would be a baby step or two that you would recommend we start doing right now before we work with you? What could we do that would help us get it going in the right direction? So maybe then we're
Absolutely.
more ready to work with you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tell you number one secret, rapid transformation, is we're going to combine something from my energy teacher and my conscious language teacher. So first off, to recognize that our experience, our thoughts, feelings, sensations is directly connected to our energy level. And we forget that sometimes. So that's a decree I tell all my clients to tell. My experience is determined by my energy level, and start getting sensitive to your energy level. You might start noticing that your poo stories that you're worthless are because your energy sucks. And when you're in a flow state, you probably the environment is creating an ability to have more energy. So you want to break your connection between your story of who you are, because your story of heart is probably much higher. We're keeping your capacity of what you think you can be is probably here, where I'm helping you get way up here. And so let's break the story. That's number one. So then it's start to notice, what are your patterns that drop your energy and what are your patterns that raise your energy. So if you take my class, I'll get into a lot of different ways to do that. I've got a zillion techniques, but for your audience who already are doing things, those are questions to ask, is just to notice. And then there's like, when your energy drops, it's two parts. What are the triggers? And then what are the strategies you do? The more we're talking about intimacy with self, remember the goal is to know yourself. So start to notice what drops your energy and what are the stories you tell yourself when your energy sucks. So those would be great self-awareness techniques. And then the flip side, what are the formulas for you to get into high energy? And because then if you know those formulas more, you can start to reduplicate them in the direction. And then the last thing I'll say is purpose. The people who have a purpose, they feel better about their life. And the bigger the purpose you have, the more energy it requires. And so don't be afraid to aim big. When people who don't have a big why or a big purpose yet, no worries. Just acknowledge that's where I'm at and set an intention. Start a dialogue with your higher self. Why am I here? And there's something called, the Japanese call it an ikigai. I don't know if you heard of this term. It's the combination of what do you love to do, what are you really good at, and what does the world need right now. And you're trying to find that. And that you could have lots of iterations of that over the course of your life, but you want to start with what is that right now. And sometimes you might have a bigger one, but you need to do something right now to get the skills up for that one. So it's a process. And the last thing I'll just say is just start saying, I am magic. Because to think about how does anything exist and realize you can't answer that question, and accept that you're pure magic, and watch how change that story from like your whatever lame story you have about yourself. You'll replace magic over I'm a loser or whatever, and then watch how that changes your energy.
Oh, love it. All of these were really good. You gave us way
Thanks.
more than just one or two.
Yeah.
I ran out of paper. I was trying to write down everything that you said. That was absolutely amazing. And Jonathan, you are so generous. I love your energy. I love what you're doing. And you offered a very generous free gift to everyone. Could you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I have a video that will kind of talk about a little bit about more in depth about some of the things I just discussed, like how do you actually implement them and integrate that. And so those things are sticky because it's one thing to hear about it on a podcast and then you just go about your life. But the advantage of this free gift and about going deeper with me is I show people how to make these new narratives sticky so they actually leave in long lasting transformation.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait to watch the video. And I'll make sure that the link is in the show notes.
Yes.
So everybody can find it. Everybody can take advantage of it. So one of the things that we do here at the Abundance Journey, we always turn the tables on our guests because we know that when we give is when we receive the most. Jonathan, what can we do to support you?
Yeah, I think going to my YouTube channel, it's just at Mozenter and subscribe and spread the gospel of check out my, when I say spread the gospel, I'm a volunteerist and I do something called the pointing out style of teaching. So this is how I reconcile being a teacher and a volunteerist. Because this is what I learned this term from my Vajrayana Buddhist teachers. I just say, hey, this worked for me. This works for my clients. Try it out for yourself and put it what I call in your neutral file. So you try it out for a little while as if it will work, and then you gather some data. And then if it does work for you, tell your friends. I have a sole purpose to bring heaven to earth, to play my small part in this co-creation. And part of my sole purpose was to do all these teachings, aggregate best practices, and spread them. So you can help me by being part of my mission. If it works for you, and obviously if it doesn't work for you, don't spread it. But if something you learn from one of my videos is epic, please share it.
I love that. I love that. I'm definitely going to be a subscriber to your YouTube channel for sure. And I can't wait to watch some of your videos because you have provided so much value in such a short period of time. I'm seriously tempted to keep you here all day long. And I know I can't do that, darn it. But man, you've left me with a dilemma because I have to pick one of all the brilliant things you shared with us just now to do the Activate Abundance segment around. You're not making my life easy, young man.
Okay. Hey, appreciate challenge.
What a joyful dilemma. This is wonderful. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's fun.
All right, stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador. And I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. That's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. You see why I wanted Jonathan on the show, right? This guy is amazing. Brainiac. He has so many different resources that he pulls together in a unique combination that just transforms everything. Step one is gratitude. I'm so grateful to Jonathan for sharing his expertise with us today and for giving so much. I really struggled to pick just one thing, and I'm cheating. I'm adding two together, but don't tell anybody. Okay, so step one is gratitude. Step two is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you, or maybe you just heard it in a slightly different way. Jonathan put the puzzle pieces together so beautifully for us, but I'm going to call out a couple of them and meld them all into one. He was talking about the ultimate goal is to know yourself, to know the divinity within, and truly to love yourself. Love the human aspect of who you are, because exactly who you are is brilliant. It's perfect. It's just what's needed right now on the planet. So there's nothing wrong with you having a human experience. It all contributes to the contrast so that you can have a growth opportunity. That's all it is. It's all about your growth. So I love that he was talking about know thyself. And the other part that I'm marrying to that is that whatever you're experiencing is based on the energy that you're bringing to the situation. It's who you are being, not what you are doing. And so often we're fixated on what to do next. That's not really the right focus. The right focus is on who I choose to be in this moment. I am showing up with this energy, and therefore I have this kind of an experience because this is the energy I bring to this experience. My energy, just so you know, I am grateful. That's my come from. That's how I show up in every single moment. And because I'm grateful, I experience grateful curiosity. I'm moving into part 3, which is appreciate the difference it makes in your life. You can appreciate the difference it makes in your life when you truly know yourself, you love yourself, and you're committed to how you are being in the moment. And you notice those times when you're not exactly being that, right? Because we're human. We don't always come from our higher selves. That's okay. There's an opportunity to regroup and come from your higher self next time and identify the learnings, the insights that are there for you. So I really love him calling this out to us because it's just a reminder for me to recommit to be grateful. Because when I show up as grateful curiosity, I know there's gold in every conversation I have. It's up to me to pay attention and notice the gold that's there. When I show up with grateful love, I'm appreciating the other people and the love that we're creating together, like you with me right now on this show. We are creating more love. We are expanding the divine just by joining forces and spending time together. How cool is that? So there's a lot of value in knowing your internal self, that divine within, loving who you are, and committing to the energy you choose to bring into every single situation. Those are the first 3 steps to activate about it. Step 4 is where you really put the pedal to the metal and you make it real. The way we're going to activate it, 3 different options. Grab a calendar, schedule time. Like I love to schedule time for journaling. That's a really powerful way to connect with the divine within and notice some of those messages that are trying to come through. Journaling is really powerful. So step 1 is grab a calendar and schedule time. The next option is to create a physical trigger, like maybe crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, okay, my whole goal is to get to know the divine within and notice how I am being in the moment, and deliberately put that cloak of being on before I step in the room. I'm going to give myself this gift of being grateful before I interact with anybody else, before I interact with myself. I get to be grateful first. Okay, so that's part 2, is that physical trigger, that reminder. The third option is to declare to someone, like an accountability buddy, look, this is the energy I want to bring into every situation. And I really want to get to know the divine within. I want to notice what's happening for me. And sometimes I'm a little too close to it. So if you see that I'm not really holding that space, that energy that I want to come from, please call me on it. Remind me that this is an opportunity for gratitude and that everything flows from gratitude. That's my belief, and that's how I want to be. So that's what I would ask an accountability buddy to do for me. So which one am I going to pick? Because honestly, I want to live this all the time, every day. I want to be that energy and I want to really connect with the divine within. So I'm going to cheat because I want to make sure there's no wiggle room for me. I want to do this all the time. I'm going to do all 3 ways to activate abundance. I'm going to be scheduling my journaling time. I'm going to have those physical triggers. I'm pointing my fingers every which way. Have those physical triggers, and I'm holding myself accountable. I want you to hold me accountable for coming from that high energy of gratitude. Gratitude or above. That's it for me, baby. Call me on it if you don't see me being grateful. I really appreciate it. Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this amazing? The incredible expansion you get to enjoy just by tuning in to the abundance journey and listening to Jonathan Mozenter. Jonathan is freaking amazing. Just freaking amazing. I honestly didn't want to let that guy hang up because there's so much value that he's bringing to the table, and it's ever expanding. You are an unlimited being with unlimited opportunities to expand your abundance and prosperity. And it starts by connecting your energy with high vibe people like Jonathan, like me. And we help pull your energy up so you can be in that energy that really helps you expand and enjoy true fulfillment by knowing who you are and cherishing who you are exactly as you are, because you're perfect. You really are perfect. Right now, no changes or modifications. You are exactly what's needed on the planet right now. And I'm so grateful that you joined us today. Thanks for being here. I can't wait to see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.